United Airlines is placing 3 completely different bets on the future, all at the same time. Bet 1, a supersonic jet built to fly nearly twice the speed of sound, something no airline has done since the Concorde got parked back in 2003. United reserved up to 50 of them. Bet 2, a wild plane shaped like a manta ray, its whole body designed to fly using half the fuel or less. United called dibs on 100, with room for 100 more. And bet 3, a whopping 630 ordinary Boeing and Airbus jets, the single biggest plane order in the airline's entire history. 3 bets and 3 totally different futures. And the head scratcher is that they are making all of them at once, and hardly anyone can figure out why. So let's start with how big this airline actually is. In 2025, United carried more than 181 million people. It flew its biggest schedule ever, moving close to 500,000 passengers every single day. It ran bigger wide-body flights than at any point in its history and added dozens of new routes. This isn't some struggling company cleaning house. This is a giant trying to completely reinvent itself while it's still running full speed. And it's doing all this at the worst possible time. Boeing's jets kept getting stuck waiting for approval. Airports are jammed and pricey. Wages are climbing. Fuel prices bounce around like a puck on fresh ice. Even a long government shutdown took a bite out of profits. So the real question is simple. Why would an airline push this hard when everything around it is screaming slow down? To get it, you have to understand what United decided to bet against. For about 20 years, everyone believed the future of flying was cheap. Bare bones airlines stripped out everything that wasn't the actual seat and trained all of us to just sort flights by price. The big old airlines were supposed to either match those rock bottom prices or die. But United zigged while everyone zagged. It decided it didn't want to be the cheapest airline. It wanted to be the one you'd happily pay more for. Here's the logic, and it's actually pretty clever. A fancy business class seat can bring in 5 to 10 times the profit of a regular economy seat. So, United built its whole plan, called United Next, around a spinning loop. A bigger route network pulls in more travelers, a nicer experience makes them loyal, loyal flyers hand over more of their data. That data helps United sell more premium seats. And those premium seats pay for an even bigger network. Round and round it goes, faster and faster, with the big spending passenger as the ultimate prize. And get this, it's working so well that the rest of the industry is now copying it. Southwest, the plain and simple airline that stayed the same for 50 years, suddenly started selling assigned seats and charging for bags. JetBlue and Alaska are chasing fancy cabins and lounges too. Meanwhile, Spirit, the cheapest, most no-frills airline of them all, went bankrupt twice in 1 year and basically vanished. Put it together and the message is loud. The cheap seat era alone stopped being enough, which quietly proves United was right all along. So how does United actually pull this off? It comes down to its map. Today's United is really 2 airlines welded together after a big merger years ago. That gave it hubs on basically every corner of the country, plus doorways to nearly every continent. For years, that sprawling shape was seen as a messy problem, but over time, it flipped into their secret weapon. Picture a traveler in a tiny prairie town who wants to get to Bangkok. A little regional plane feeds them into a hub, and a big jet carries them across the ocean. That handoff, that connection, is the whole game. United isn't selling you a cheap ticket from A to B. It's selling you access to the entire planet. But for that to work, the whole machine has to run like clockwork. Miss one connection and the customer's trip falls apart. So United spent 2025 proving it could be reliable, canceling fewer flights than any other big US airline while flying its largest schedule ever. When you're selling a journey stitched from 3 flights, being on time isn't a bonus. It's the actual product. Now here's the part I love. United's flashiest routes secretly depend on its most boring ones. That fancy jet to Australia only makes money if it's full. And a lot of those passengers start in small towns with no big flights, riding tiny 50-seat regional planes to reach a hub. Those little flights are like the small veins that feed the main artery. Pull them out, and the big long-haul jet leaves half empty. The catch is, those regional flights are fragile and expensive to run, leaning on partners with thin profits and a shrinking pool of pilots. So all the glamour rests on a web of small planes hopping between small cities. Here's where the plan gets fun and a little cheeky. United started planting flags on weird, far-flung routes almost nobody else flies. It launched its biggest international expansion ever, adding 30 new spots, places like Greenland, Mongolia, and small European cities. Now, somebody in small-town Ontario might never fly to Mongolia, but just knowing United goes there changes how they see the brand. It stops looking like a plain domestic airline and starts looking like the carrier that connects the whole wide world. Every weird little dot on the map is really free advertising. To fly those thin routes without losing its shirt, United leaned on a clever new plane, the Airbus A321 XLR. It's a single-aisle jet that can fly surprisingly far, perfect for routes too small for a giant wide-body, but too long for a normal small plane. It lets United test a new market and plant a flag without betting huge money every time. Low risk, big reputation. And here's the real trick behind United Next. It's a fleet plan, sure, but really it's a plan to squeeze every possible dollar out of the same plane. Same jet, same route, but sliced into layers. Bare bones economy for the budget crowd. A step up with a bit more legroom. A comfy middle cabin, full business class up front. Then lounges, memberships, and upgrades stacked on top. Every layer is a different price pulled from the exact same aircraft, all funneling toward that money-making seat at the front. But the single most profitable thing United does might not even happen on a plane. It's the loyalty program, MileagePlus. Here's the sneaky smart part. United sells miles in bulk to a big bank, which hands them out as credit card rewards. The bank pays cash up front, and United controls those miles, quietly deciding what they're worth. Flying planes is hard, risky work, full of things that can go wrong. Selling points to a bank is easy money. That's where a huge chunk of the real profit quietly lives. So step back and look at all three bets again. The Supersonic jet, the Manta Ray plane, and the 630 ordinary jets. On their own, they look random, but they're all one giant gamble. United isn't betting big because it's failing. It's betting big because it decided the future belongs to whoever builds the largest, most premium, most global network in America, and that the safest place to stand when everything changes is way out front of the pack. Air Canada plays a similar premium and connections game up here, so it's not a totally foreign idea. But United is trying to give her harder than anyone. And if the new kind of traveler really will keep paying for comfort, reach, and reliability, then United just might become the airline this whole new era rewards the most.